But that time, along with the eggs, I could also taste lemon, vanilla yogurt, and even some paper. And it's not as good as you might think. Yogurt tastes nice by itself, but together with eggs, it's gross.
The way we understand the world around us comes from only 5 senses: sight, sound, smell, touch, and taste. We use those senses so much, so fast, and so frequently that we usually stop noticing we're doing it at all. Color. It's magical, but there's a lot of science behind it. Let us find out what color it is and what it tastes like. When you look at this window, you see an array of colors. So, what exactly is color? It's the part of the electromagnetic spectrum we can see called, logically enough, the visible spectrum. So, what makes us see particular colors? Objects absorb some wavelengths of light and not others. The ones we don't see are the ones it absorbs, and the colors that we do see are those that are reflected back. The spectrum of colors ranges from violet to red, and each color has a very specific wavelength. The longest is red and the shortest is violet. Just beyond our sight at the red end is the infrared region of the electromagnetic spectrum, and at the other end, the ultraviolet range. Human sight can perceive wavelengths from about 390 to 790 nanometers. A nanometer is pretty short, 1/1,000,000th of a meter. How many colors are there in the universe? It's been estimated that we distinguish between 18 billion colors. That's 18 followed by 33 zeros. A lot of choice, huh? You may have been taught that the 3 primary colors are red, blue, and yellow, but those are the primary colors of pigments, which are substances that add color to materials. But what happens when you mix all 3 of those? We get this: white light. It was that genius of physics we've heard a lot about in this series, Isaac Newton, who figured out that combinations of wavelengths spread out along the visible spectrum make up white light. So, white actually isn't a color at all. It is the presence of all of the colors of visible light. He also understood that what we see as black is the absence of light. If you had been a guest at the restaurant, 4 spoons of a spherified, colorful taste would have been placed randomly in front of you. 1 red, 1 white, 1 green, and 1 brownie black. Once everyone has their 4 spoons, they are informed that the chef recommends starting with the salty, then the bitter spoon, next the sour, and ending on a sweet note, leaving you and the other diners a little perturbed as to which order exactly you should taste the spoons in. The idea is that the diners arrange their own spoons from left to right in front of them in the order: salty, bitter, sour, and sweet. Having arranged their own spoons, the diners normally start to look around and compare notes with each other. In the restaurant or online, we get somewhere around 75% of people ordering the spoons in the way that the chef and the gastrophysicist intended. Color can be used to modify people's perception of a taste that is already present in the mouth. I can, for example, make food or drink taste sweeter by adding a pinkish red color, but as yet I haven't come across a way to do that while serving someone a glass of water. Turning water into wine, now that's still a step too far, even for the gastrophysicist at the top of their game, though if you remember in the previous chapter, that was pretty much what the inventors of the right cup were promising to do. Nonetheless, a food or beverage company may be able to boost perceived sweetness by as much as by getting the color of their product or the packaging just right. Every little bit counts, as they say. Some people want to know whether the effects of adding color are like adding sugar. Surely psychologically induced sweetness must taste different from the chemically induced kind? Do you know taste buds play an important role in determining the 4 basic groups of taste, which are sweet, salty, sour, and bitter? When your taste buds come in contact with food, they send signals to your brain to interpret flavor. Because we look at our food before eating, however, our eyes send signals to our brain well before our taste buds get the chance. This can predetermine how we will perceive the taste and flavor of what we're about to eat. Color is often the first element noticed in the appearance of a food product. From birth, humans begin to associate certain colors with various types of foods, and these colors are associated with specific tastes and flavors throughout their lives. For example, we may expect yellow pudding to have a banana or lemon flavor and red jelly beans to have a cherry or cinnamon flavor. In fresh foods, such as fruits and vegetables, we rely on the color to determine their level of ripeness and/or freshness. If a food product's color does not match our expectations, we may perceive its taste and flavor differently, a psychological effect that some food companies exploit. To give the impression of a certain taste, flavor, or quality, food coloring or dyes are added to processed, packaged, and even fresh foods. Adding a red colorant to the skin of an apple, for example, may influence consumers into believing the apple is sweeter in taste. In a study published in the the Journal of Food Science, researchers found that people confused flavors when a drink did not have the appropriate color. A cherry-flavored drink, manipulated to be orange in color, was thought to taste like an orange drink, and a cherry drink manipulated to be green in color was thought to taste like lime. Published in Fast Food Nation, a more extreme study dating back to the early 1970s offers some insight into how color affects our appetite and perception of food. The subjects were served what appeared to be a typical plate of steak and fries. The room, however, was installed with specialty lighting that changed the color of the food looked. Under this lighting effect, the participants thought the steak and fries tasted fine. Once the effects were turned off and the lighting was returned to normal, it was revealed that the steak was dyed a blue color and the French fries were dyed a green color. Upon seeing this, many of the subjects lost their appetite, and some became ill. Color additives are also used to offset the effects of color loss during the manufacturing process because of exposure to light, changes in temperature, moisture, and storage conditions. At other times, additives are used to enhance the food's natural color or to provide color to foods that are normally colorless. This can be seen in the seafood industry, where farm-raised salmon, typically an unappealing gray color, is dyed pink to give the impression that the fish is of high quality and very fresh. The role color plays in our perception of taste has long been researched by food companies to better understand consumer behavior and how that impacts the perception of their products. Without these visual cues, our taste buds might get confused and not recognize the lemon flavor in pudding or cherry flavor in jelly beans that we've grown to expect. While food colorants have been highly debated over the past few years due to questionable health effects, food companies know that consumers determine the quality and taste of a food product long before their taste buds have had a chance to process it. Have you ever heard of synesthesia? It is a neurological condition in which stimulation of one sense, for example taste, produces experiences in a completely different sense, for example sight. According to researcher Sean Day, approximately 1 in 27 people has some form of synesthesia. Though we're no closer to discovering a true sixth sense, research suggests that synesthesia may confer some sensory enhancements. Some scientists posit, for example, that synesthetes are better at distinguishing between smells as well as between colors. Synesthesia can enhance cognitive abilities such as creativity and memory, as it's easier to make connections between concepts. Renowned creative minds, such as Vincent van Gogh and Vladimir Nabokov, claim to have synesthesia. Synesthesia can be associative, so the senses are connected and associated in a person's mind or projective when the images and colors are projected into reality. Synesthesia is an anomalous blending of the senses in which the stimulation of one modality simultaneously produces sensation in a different modality. Synesthetes hear colors, feel sounds, and taste shapes. Synesthesia differs from drug-induced hallucinations in that it is highly consistent. For some synesthetes, the note F is always a reddish shade of rust, a 3 is always pink, and a truck is always blue. The estimated occurrence of synesthesia ranges from rarer than 1 in 20,000 to as prevalent as 1 in 200. Of the various manifestations of synesthesia, the most common involves seeing monochromatic letters, digits, and words in unique colors. This is called grapheme color synesthesia. One rather striking observation is that such synesthetes all seem to experience very different colors for the same graphemic cues. Different synesthetes may see 3 in yellow, pink, or red. Such synesthetic colors are not elicited by meaning, because the second of may be orange, but 2 are blue, and the 7th of may be red, but 7 is green. Even more perplexing is that synesthetes typically report seeing both the color the character is printed in as well as their synesthetic color. For example, it is both blue, real color, and light green, the synthetic color.